In capital news tonight, 3 miners have been killed after a mine collapsed at Kisongo area, Arumeri district, Arusha region. $500 containers of unrefined sugar have been seized at the port of Dar es Salaam. And in sports, Kaizer Chiefs of South Africa warned to be wary of Simba Sports Club in their CAF Champions League quarterfinals clash. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. A section of Moram mine at Kisongo area, Arumeri district, Arusha region has collapsed, causing the death of 3 people and injuring 3 others. Following the incident, Arusha Region Commissioner Idi Kimanta visited the site and directed mineral officers to conduct a safety inspection operation on all mines.
We arrived at the scene and found someone talking. We couldn't do anything because the rock was too huge. It's such unfortunate, and it is contributed to the continuous rains. My advice is to have a machine to be used in these mines.
Kubwa ambalo nimeliona katika machimbo haya.
The greatest problem I have seen in this mine is the lack of mining experts. I ask all mines to be inspected regularly.
The Minister of State Vice President's Office for Union and Environment, SALAAM, has directed the arrest of a tourist identified as Kaizer, who imported into the country more than 500 containers of expired unrefined sugar at the port of Dar es Salaam.
It is not possible for someone to come in here like a tourist and comes to invest shisha while he does not even own a factory. From 2019 to 2021, he brings in more than 500 containers. I give 10 days to all people who brought expired fertilizers and pesticides and think of Tanzania as a dumping place. I give you 10 days to surrender. 353 containers are too many. We convened a joint session with TRA, Port Authority, NEMC, and TPS.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan has revoked appointment of 3 leaders who include the chair of the Board of Directors of Tanzania Shipping Agencies Corporation TASAC, Professor Tadeo Andrew Sata, and 6 board members. Here's more on the story.
President Samia has also revoked appointment of the Postmaster General of Tanzania Post Corporation, Hassan Mwangombe, the Chairman of the Board of Directors of Tanzania Post Corporation, Dr. Haron Kondo, and dissolved the Board of Directors of the corporation. In another development, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has met and held talks with the retired President of Nigeria, Obasanjo, at the State House Chamwino in Dodoma region, whereby retired President Obasanjo gave his condolences following the death of the late Benjamin Mkapa on July 23, 2020, and the late Dr. John Magufuli on March 17, 2021, before commending President Samia Suluhu Hassan for becoming the new President of Tanzania. In their talks, the 2 leaders discussed on issues concerning security on the African continent.
There were things that have happened that will have brought me here before now. One was the death of my friend and brother, President Benjamin Mkapa. I had wanted to come and pay personal condolence visit, although I wrote letter of condolence. And then the immediate past president, late President Magufuli. Again, it's something that requires me to pay condolence visit, and of course to congratulate the president.
Now, Speaker of Parliament Job Ndugai has clarified on the legitimacy of 19 members of Parliament who are alleged to have been expelled from Chadema party by saying that he has no letter or documents to show that the members of Parliament had been revoked from the party. He made the statement after the question and answer session in Parliament, Dodoma.
Lakini katiba yao ina mambo ndani yake. Hiyo katiba yao. Wamechukua hatua kwa ndani ya katiba yao.
In their constitution, there is something called the General Council. It is the last body to decide on the fate of their member. And the General Council did not even meet yet.
Hilo baraza kuu limekutana.
In another development, the Minister of Home Affairs, George Simba has tabled his ministry's budget estimates for the 2021-2022 financial year of more than 900 billion shillings, with members of parliament urging the government to give more priority to improving housing for police officers.
The Ministry, through the Secretariat for Prevention and Fight Against Illegal Trade of Human Trafficking, is planning to make urgency actions, including completion of the national works to prevent businesses in defamation and illegal development and illegal trafficking.
Idara ya uhamiaji imeendelea kutopelekewa fedha na maendeleo kwa mtiririko unaostahili.
The Department of Immigration does not continue to receive development funds as it requires. The committee advises the government to provide all developed financial funds approved in the financial year 2020-2021, whereby by February only 400 million shillings were paid.
Kule magereza, sisi kwa mfano Sengerema.
In the issue of saving people and their property, there should be motivation for the fire department, considering the nature of their risk work.
In marking World Press Freedom Day, the Canadian High Commissioner Pamela O'Donnell and British High Commissioner David Conker have said that they recognize and respect how the media in the country has been reporting on various issues, including climate change, and why press freedom is important in order to provide balanced information to people. They made the statement in Dar es Salaam during a tour of IPB media houses of ITV Radio 1, Capital TV and Capital Radio, East Africa TV and Radio.
There has been a debate going for a number of years on relation to an example I'll give is climate change.
Yes.
So in climate change, 99% of all experts agree that it's happening, that it's not a hoax, that the science is solid, and so on and so forth. Yes. But you get a tiny, tiny number of people who take a different view, contrarian view, a skeptic's view. And the difficulty for an organisation like the BBC, which has this very strong impartiality culture, is how do you represent those two sides of a debate?
Media freedom matters. Because I think people need accurate information that has information from multiple sources. If you only listen to one person's viewpoint, it's like the climate change debate. What if all you heard was the one side of the story, and you never questioned it, you never thought about the other side of the story? We need to develop the ability of people to think for themselves and to think critically, but in order to do that, they need to hear different stories.
Earlier, welcoming the envoys, the managing director of ITV Radio 1, Joyce Mhavile, said the visit was an opportunity to exchange and share ideas with representatives of the Guardian newspaper and East Africa TV and Radio, commenting on the need to make amendments to media laws as well as importance of specialization in journalism.
May. Everybody knows what this day is as far as journalists are concerned. So it's a day whereby we get to have this very special occasion, whereby I've got two high commissioners coming to visit us. And they'd like to hear from us, and we'd like to hear from them when it comes to the freedom of the media, freedom of speech, freedom of everything, of this industry, not only here, but like all over the world, because this is the day,
At least in the initial stages of the drafting of those laws, especially media laws, media practitioners are represented. It's only that the kind of representation that has been there has not been very strong. And we appreciate that fact. And we are working on that. At least the media associations in place are. I'm talking about the likes of Media Council of Tanzania and Tanzania Editors Forum.
You're working with credible people. So maybe your coalition and partners can invest in that with the IPP media, where we deal with growing the capacity, so that when you come back in 10 years, you'll be speaking to award-winning journalists in this entire room, would have infrastructure system that builds the brand and creates that credibility even further. And when you have that cutting across the industry, then we reduce the power of social media, because I don't have to trust, you have less spaces where you trust and deal with the credibility of the brands. I mean, ITV has been super brand.
Well, moving on, editors, media owners and journalists in the country have called on the government to remove laws which are undermining that have prevented them from implementing their work effectively in informing the public. The statement was made by the chair of Tanzania Editors Forum, Deodatus Balile, on Press Freedom Day, which nationally was marked in Arusha region, whereby the Minister of Information, Arts, Culture and Sports, Innocent Bashungwa, stressed on the importance of media in reporting issues of national interest.
Tukiangalia taarifa ya waandishi wasio na mipaka, Reporters Without Borders report.
Looking at the report of Journalists Without Boundary, it shows that for 5 consecutive years in Tanzania, there has been a collapse in the freedom of media. Events such as closure of newspapers, journalist beatings, TV and radio stations are being arbitrarily fined.
Sisi kama shirika,
we as an organization recognize that freedom of information is constitutionally protected in Article 18 of the Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania.
Awe ni rais wetu wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan, hili jambo ningependa kuwatoa wasiwasi.
I would like to give you my concern. Work with confidence. So long as you follow the laws and procedures as professional journalists, the image of the country is the way we talk about it.
Resident Magistrate Court in Kagera region has freed 7 leaders of opposition Chadema party, including former Mayor Bukoba Municipal Chief Kalumana, who have been charged with various offences, including causing chaos and destruction of government property, including the swearing of agents in general election last year. The 7 were freed after Bukoba resident magistrate Joseph Luambano read the verdict, stating that the accused were innocent as the prosecution had given evidence that was doubtful.
Kwa kweli nimeipokea kwa faraja mimi na wenzangu.
My colleagues and I have received it with great comfort. Since the election, we have been in court for a very long time. And at the end of the day, the court has done justice. I thank God and my fellow members of Chadema. You all have witnessed there was a contradiction from the prosecutive side. The court has done its work and the law has been followed well, including the rights, freedom and the development of the people of Tanzania.
The police force in KILIMANJARO region has arrested 59 people allegedly for being found in possession of narcotics, which include more than 400 kilograms of khat, marijuana and illegal fishing nets, which were used in illegal fishing activities at Mungu Dam. The suspects were arrested during an operation being implemented by the police force in KILIMANJARO region.
Vielelezo. Hao ni watu ambao wapatao takriban 59.
Approximately 59 people have been arrested for various offenses, as I mentioned above. The suspects have been arrested with 456.5 kilos of khat, 1,401 pieces of cannabis, 223 liters of illegal alcohol, 4 cars and 5 motorcycles that were used to transfer the cart.
Hili ni janga la kitaifa kwa uvushaji wa mirungi hii.
This is a national disaster. The transportation of these drugs is a threat. Cart is a great disaster even to my family. The media and the police are working very hard. The country is losing manpower due to the use of cart.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows shortly. Welcome back, and in international news. With more than 300,000 daily cases reported for nearly 2 weeks now, India is battling a ferocious second wave of the coronavirus that has overwhelmed its fragile and underfunded healthcare system. Hospitals are filled with capacity, medical oxygen supplies are running short, and morgues and crematoriums are swamped. The eastern state of Odisha and the northern industrial state of Haryana became the latest to announce new lockdowns, joining New Delhi, Maharashtra, Karnataka and West Bengal. Now, moving on, the Wildlife Authority in Uganda has closed Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary following land and ownership wrangles. The authority has announced that no tourist or officer will be allowed to enter the sanctuary without permission, and that only wildlife rangers and those who feed the animals will be allowed in. We figured out that rhinos are going to be endangered. That is why we decided to intervene in order to protect the animals. Drastic measures have been taken, including prohibiting tourists from visiting these areas. With President Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania expected to start her 2-day official visit in Kenya tomorrow, business people in the country have said they have high hopes that the visit will strengthen relations between the two countries. It will be a great opportunity for opening up borders for traders, especially Nairobi traders. We have received the news with open arms as we anticipate for positive agreements.
Kwa hivyo hili ni jambo moja kubwa sana na la heshima na la taadhima sana.
It is a great honor for Her Excellency President to value her neighbors. She has indeed stepped into office under difficult conditions, but she thought it is important to build good relations with her neighbors. As countries around the world mark Press Freedom Day in Democratic Republic of Congo, journalists have said they have been working in very difficult conditions. It's time for everybody to observe what they are good at. Try to see how much people have benefited from your reports. Journalists are very important people in the world that is demanding for information. Among challenges that we face is the rebels and sometimes demonstrators. Unfortunately, this year, one journalist was killed in Rwenzori, whom his body has yet to be recovered. This is the end of international news. Business news follows next after the break. We'll be right back.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. Investment at the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange in April this year has increased by 12% from 193 billion shillings to 216 billion shillings due to various factors including increasing awareness and assurance on profits made from investment activities at the stock exchange.
Katika hizo kwenye upande wa hisa kulikuwa na ongezeko la karibu 167%.
There was increase in shares at the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange by almost 167% from 6.5 billion in March to 12.2 billion in April. On the part of treasury bonds, there was an increase of almost 6% in investment transactions from 188 billion in March up to 199 billion in April 2021. On the part of shares, Vodacom Company contributed 60% from all the transactions made. Air Tanzania Company Limited, it says it will soon start a new route from Dar es Salaam to Guangzhou, China, every 2 weeks, with most of the passengers expected to be nationals from China and those with special permits in the country.
Tuna hakika au tuna matumaini makubwa tutaongezewa.
We have high expectations that routes will be increased from having one route to China in 2 weeks. However, we're still in dialogues with China Aircraft Association for them to increase the routes, although there are some conditions that we will have to agree before making any decision. There shall be a flight every Saturday at 5 a.m. that will reach Guangzhou by 9 p.m. Then the plane will leave Guangzhou by 11 p.m., returning back to Dar es Salaam around 5 a.m. on Sunday. Small wheat and barley farmers in the country have been urged to enter into contracts with big companies to buy their crops so that they can get profitable prices and avoid being cheated by unscrupulous business people.
Wakulima wanapokuwa wanalima ngano pamoja na shayiri tayari.
When farmers are cultivating their crops, markets need to be known and contracts have to be obvious. Of course, previously there were several means of selling crops, but as the Ministry of Agriculture, we are here to ensure that all key stakeholders meet farmers so that when time for negotiations comes, contracts have to be ready to simplify farmers' payments.
Kwa hiyo mbele yetu si kubwa sana kwa serikali.
We are calling on the government to help us in the wine sector, especially on good quality wheat pesticides, in order to get good harvests. Currently, we face a lot of weed challenges. And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Again trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Joaquinho, he did lose to Lynn.
And in sports news, former Black Leopards coach Luke Amael has warned Kaizer Chiefs to up their game when they face Simba Sports Club in the quarterfinals of the CAF Champions League. Here's more on the story.
Were drawn to face Amakosi in the last 8, with the first leg meeting set for South Africa on May 14th and the return leg planned for Dar es Salaam's Benjamin Mkapa Stadium on May 21st. Ahead of the fixture, the Belgian tactician, who has handled teams in South Africa and Tanzania, where he was in charge of Simba's rivals' Yanga Sports Club, has claimed for Chiefs to get past Simba, they will have to be consistent in both games. He warned them to be wary of Simba, when they play at home. Emael, who has also handed Free State stars in South Africa, has further said Chiefs also have quality players to trouble Simba in the first leg, but they must be ready for the tough game when they travel to Tanzania.
AZAM FC have made it clear they will not finish the 2020-2021 campaigns without winning a trophy. Here are more details.
Are currently in the race to win the mainland Premier League title, and they have also qualified for the quarter. According to the club's information officer Zakaria Thabit, AZAM, who are under the tutelage of Zambian coach George Lwandamina, are still in the race for the 2 titles, and they will be satisfied to end the campaign with a trophy. Thabit has further said they have organized themselves well to make sure they don't leave the season empty-handed, insisting their squad is capable of giving them a trophy, unlike last season where they finished without any silverware.
Real Madrid have revealed that Rafael Varane will play no part in the second leg of their Champions League semi-final clash with Chelsea after picking up an untimely groin injury.
During the Blancos' 2-0 victory over Osasuna on Saturday, La Liga giants had been hoping that the 28-year-old would shake off a knock in time to figure in a must-win contest at Stamford Bridge, but it will now be restricted to a spectator role. A statement released on Real's official website reads, after the tests carried out today on our player Rafael Varane by the Real Madrid Medical Services, he was diagnosed with an injury to the right abductor muscle.
Borussia Dortmund will be adopting the same stance with Erling Haaland that they once took with Robert Lewandowski, with Hans-Joachim Watzke ruling out a summer sale.
Frontman is building ahead of the next transfer window, with the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona and Manchester City all said to be keen. Dortmund do, however, boast history when it comes to fending off interest in top talents, having ignored advances for the likes of Lewandowski and Jadon Sancho in the past, and will not be entertaining offers for prized asset. Dortmund CEO Watzke has told Sport 1 after seeing Haaland's agent Mino Raiola suggest that a deal could soon be done, saying he has known Mino for a long time and gets along well with him.
And Inter Milan defender Achraf Hakimi hinted that circumstances around the coronavirus pandemic forced Real Madrid to release him last July.
International returned to the Spanish capital last year following the completion of his 2-year loan spell at Borussia Dortmund, but immediately sealed a permanent move to Italy. Hakimi has been a key figure at Inter Milan this season, and he helped the Nerazzurri win the Serie A title with his contribution of 7 goals and 6 assists after 33 league appearances. Despite his fine performance in Italy this season, the 20-year-old said he was keen to fight for his place in Real.
And that sports item ends on his bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. Thank you for watching and good night.